You talking about the Israel stuff?
Yes.
So this is what I'm talking about. I recorded both of them. The only way that, like, on October 7th, 2023, when this shit went down, completely unrelated, crazy that this happened, but I had a guy scheduled to fly in here at 9:30 a.m. that morning from Chicago. This dude, Mark Turner, who coincidentally had been training IDF guys on the Gaza border for the past 6 months.
Wow.
So he flies into town, and we're like, holy shit. And he's opening up WhatsApp. I was seeing shit that I'm like, oh my God. And so we did a podcast on that, and it's like, the shit's going down, you're just kind of reacting, you're like, what do you want to say? And so it was the kind of thing where I knew a lot about that subject matter, but I wouldn't want to do that podcast again because it's like such an emotional, instant react moment.
Right.
And so Israel comes up because it's a war that's happening. Like, it comes up in different podcasts, and it's been a part of podcasts for 20 minutes at a time. But I had never dipped my toe into doing a podcast where I knew going into it that's going to be the main thing we talk about. And so I decided if I was going to do that, I was going to do back-to-back, one with someone who's like pro-Israel, not necessarily pro their current government, but you know, pro the country, and someone who was making a case against them. And so I did that. I recorded both. They went great. And a couple days after I recorded with the guy who was pro-Israel, something and actually that both guys had agreed to come back in together later, which was cool. So it went perfect. A couple days later, something completely unrelated happened. Sorry, I got to be vague about that. And I was like, dude, I'm not putting out this podcast because, like, if something happened to you because of that or something, like, this is a podcast. It's not that serious.
Like, you didn't want it to come back on you?
No. Like, I didn't want something in the real world to happen to them because of shit they said on the show that you can't just, like, cut out.
Right.
So I had to replace that person, and so I replaced them with Roya Hakakian, and that's why I had to wait because I had Roya and then, you know, put out Ian Carroll, obviously, who's well known on the other side of that. So those were the two. But that dude, that topic, man, it is hard to talk to people who have nuance on it, and it's really like I'm in this, like, in this type of thing when it comes to war, I'm pro, like, less people dying, however that happens, you know what I mean? But this gets into a whole other...
Well, I think people with nuance are probably the best people to talk about that. It's people that are emotionally invested that are the problem, you know. Like, it's crazy for how analytical and Jewish people are, especially, you know, Israelis. Like, they're very... My best friend in LA is Israeli, and, you know, they really have... It's a stereotype, but they really have lawyer brains. Like, they're able to see both sides of things. They're able to really, like, step out of themselves to look at, you know, whether it's geopolitics or their personal lives. Like, you could see why they're a people of great lawyers.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Israel, they don't want to hear it. They don't want, and they might hate Netanyahu. They don't want to hear genocide. They've completely covered their eyes up to the rest of the world. That's like, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, you're just massacring people. It's just a fact. Like, you can be a bitch about it. It doesn't make it not a fact, though. So I don't appreciate the gaslighting. I don't appreciate, like, you know, it's like, or calling me, like, anti-Semitic, you know?
That gets thrown around, man.
Oh, it's like, and you bitch-made motherfuckers that are so against cancel culture, and then when it's your turn, when the egg's on your face, you want to be a little fucking fat about it. That's, you don't come back from that. I don't soon forget. So this is one of the most shameful times, truly, definitely in my lifetime, that the American government's ever been involved in. But it's, you know, it's just like Mexico. It's hard to see it when you look at it with a short-term view, but if you zoom out 50, 100 years, that place has probably seen the worst of it.
Oh yeah.
And it's going to come out of it. And if Israel wants to come along, great. If not, they're going to get bombed to the fucking Stone Age.
Yeah,
and they're barely a country. I mean, like, you go, well, you ask my friend in LA, I was about to say his name, I'm not going to say his name. Where are your parents from? Oh, your dad's from Morocco. Oh, that's interesting. He's Moroccan Sephardic Jewish. That's interesting. Where's your mom from? Oh, she's from Europe. That's interesting. Okay. So Israel is a brand new, you know, place that's an imperialist experiment.
Yeah.
And that shit just doesn't fly. And you know what they say? Well, you guys did it. America did it. Well, you're right. And that's kind of what's awkward.
400 years ago.
Right. Well, we did it. We took the West about 200 years ago. That's when we expanded from the East. And we
you're
took
saying
the
when
rest
we went full, got it.
Yeah, we went full manifest destiny, right? Because America, the American continent was like, if you lived in Delaware, you didn't go past, you didn't go west of Jersey. You didn't go west of fucking Philly, the Delaware River. When accents didn't sound stupid, that's where you stopped. So, dude, I can't cross the water. I can't cross the water. There's Indians over there.
Fuck you, Johnny. Tread lightly.
So, but yeah, no, we definitely, and I don't really have a response to that other than we were just a less civilized people before electricity and technology, and now it's just not acceptable. And it wasn't acceptable even in 1947.
I think there's two things here. Number one, we're talking about the most controversial piece of land on the planet. That's number one.
Controversial to who, though?
Like in history. It's like the oldest piece of history on the planet, that land.
Yeah, but it wasn't controversial until the 1940s, until Zionism. Because
no, I would disagree with that.
Jews and Jews and Arabs and Christians all lived together. You can look this up.
Yes, that's true.
In peace.
In peace. That's true. Yes, that's true. But I'm saying the actual piece of land, and when you look at the context of 6,000-year human history,
coveted.
Yes, coveted. But because of that, and because of the rise and fall of civilizations that came around it, there's controversy. I'm not talking like recency bias of like 100 years, 200 years. But that's number one. Number two, to your point, this has happened over and over again around the world. I mean, we exist because, we took it from the Native Americans here.
Right.
But the fact that this one happened at such a mass scale in the post-World War II era, where the world is interconnected fully at this point, media is happening, where people can talk about it and see things, and newsmen are on the ground and can take pictures. It makes it makes a bigger problem. And
no, you're right. Like, humanity is drenched, the history of civilizations is drenched in very, very uncivilized acts. All of it.
Yes.
No question about it.
And I think that with this one, it's like, also to your point, there's a see no evil kind of thing that goes on in some ways, because people are afraid to give up any ground. And that's just such a loss for humanity, because I've always believed in a two-state solution. That hasn't changed. Do I think that's ever going to happen? No. But you have to have some sort of humanity to be able to say there's going to be diplomatic channels open. I'm not sitting here and saying that means Hamas should be recognized or whatever. I'm saying if y'all can sit down after killing tens of thousands of people and have a conversation about how to, at least for the time being, not do that, that needs to happen.
Well, you can look this up. Here's a guy you should have on, Colonel Douglas Macgregor. Now, this guy's no fucking blue-haired Columbia student. This guy served in the military, high ranking. He's a colonel for 40 years. He served in the first Trump cabinet, I believe. He says, not only is he it's almost we can say with beyond a reasonable doubt that not only was Hamas being funded by the Israelis via us, they actually knew October 7th was going to happen. Duh.
Oh, he says that.
Yeah, obviously. That whole place is under a microscope. How could you not see the training happening? They knew it was going to happen. That's the first piece. Secondly, up to today, Hamas has agreed to step down once there is some kind of whatever they're negotiating back and forth. They've agreed to disarm themselves.
That I would. So if they've said that, I would believe they've said that.
This is what Colonel Macgregor says, because he's very, very connected.
I'll even say I believe that they said that.
Yeah.
I don't think for a second they would ever actually do that willingly. I think they'd be like, yeah, we're going to disarm. Yeah, okay.
I mean, perhaps, but if we've never tried a two-state solution, that's the other thing. It's
that's true.
You're allowed to strike when you're occupied by the rules that we set up after World War II. You're allowed to strike. What they did, they're allowed to do under international law. You're an occupied
What they did
people.
on October 7th?
Absolutely. You're allowed to strike. Now, killing of civilians, that's what went too far.
That's what they did, though. So how are they allowed to do that?
Right. They're not allowed to do it. So, but everybody's been arrested or killed. My point is you're allowed to strike. You're allowed to strike back at military targets. So, and by the way, they've been getting killed by Israelis. Like, you look at the numbers, it's not even close to proportionals. Talking about the IDF and how many innocent people they've been killing since the 90s. So you're allowed to strike at a military target when you're occupied. But point being, we've never, even though they've said they had the Abraham Accords and there are all these accords that look like they've been pushing progress forward, the Israeli government has been getting more and more radical since, the fucking 80s in the Arafat era.
Yes.
That land was built to be supremely Jewish. That's the problem with having religion run a fucking country, is especially when it's a land that's, not occupied just by Jewish people, is that it's built for genocide. It's built for ethnic cleansing. So, but my point is they've never tried a two-state solution, even though the Palestinians have been like, that's what we want. Because if there was a border and a wall there, then, hey, guess what? If Hamas has their own country and they strike you, fucking go in, dude.
You technically wouldn't have Hamas either if you did two-state, because the reason Hamas does exist is because they're not allowed to form a military.
That's right. That's a great point. And also, inside of Gaza, there's a bunch of different opinions. There's a bunch. Not everybody voted for Hamas.
That's right.
Not everybody. Hamas is just the armed wing that kind of spiraled out of control. They're just the armed wing of, whoever the ruling party is in Gaza.
Right.
So, and most of the people, when they got voted in 2007, most of the people who voted for them are either dead or shit, I don't know. Like everybody there is like under 18.
You also
they've never even given them a country, and also it would take power away from. It would help Israel's narrative more.
Their narrative?
Their narrative of like, hey, we're just defending ourselves if they actually gave Palestinians a state, right? Because now it's not people on land that you control. It's a completely sovereign country.
Like India, Pakistan.
Exactly. They attacked us. We have the right to strike back.
Right.
It would give them a lot more leeway to do that.
I never thought of it.
Yeah.
Wow, fuck.
You dumb motherfuckers. But they don't want that. They're fucking racist. They're murderous. And they're completely out of control.
The current government.
And a lot of the people, bro. A lot of the fucking people.
Here's why I'll push back on that. The
Sure.
current government,
going fully in Carol.
I get real upset at our system, for example, of having a two-party system.
Right.
The hypocrisy and my disappointment there is when I look at a country like Israel, where they got all these fucking parties,
right.
and then you can have a party like the Likud win with 27% of the votes, and it's all like the Orthodox community voting for it. So you do have a lot of people, to be clear, in the streets who to this day are in Israel are protesting against Netanyahu and his government. Now, I'm not saying that they don't that all those people are saying enough about what's happening in Gaza, for example. That's a really tough. Yeah, but if you had a more moderate government and you didn't have the Smotriches and the Ben-Gvirs, who, by the way, is back in the government now. He got kicked out. Now he's back.
Wow.
Like that guy is fucking crazy, right? If you didn't have people like that in power, you'd like Ehud Omer, the old PM, is coming out against the country saying, "Stop this. This is fucking insane." So there are people like, I don't want to monolith everyone.
Well, there's tons
of
Jewish people in America. Of course, they've always been the smartest and most progressive, who are like, this is genocide, this is wrong. So this is not a Judaism thing. This is not me. This is me just looking at the statistics. I think even moderate Jews in Israel are basically okay with what the Likud party's doing to Gaza.
You think they're okay with that?
Look up the stats. They polled somebody they've polled these people. I think they are fed up. They were protesting against Netanyahu big time. They almost ousted him from power before October 7th.
Yes.
That's part of the reason, that he can't keep the war. He has to keep the war going or he's gone.
That's right.
But those people have been so. It's like when I equate it to slavery in America. Like even white people in the South that maybe didn't own slaves or kind of were distasteful about it, they benefited from a poisonous system and it changes you. And when you have an apartheid system like that, human nature is to feel superior and is to look at people as less than human. That's what dehumanization does. That's what they did it in Germany. All Germans were these fucking crazy Nazi-loving
they're
brainwashed, dude. And people in Israel are brainwashed through fear and dehumanization. They have been, since the 40s, in my opinion. But yeah, look that poll up, dude. He's been doing a lot of typing and not a lot of pulling up.
Bro, because there's so many.
I'm just kidding, bro. There's so many polls.
But not even just the polls. Like, it's hard in America to figure out where there's something that's like not cooked. Figuring out when we do other countries, it's fucking crazy. So this is the Times of Israel.
Believe Netanyahu should take responsibility and resign.
72.5. All right. So I don't know if
the Times of Israel.
John, I don't know if this makes my point for me because I don't know how reliable the Times of Israel is. But for what it's worth, this is saying 72.5% of Israelis believe Netanyahu should take responsibility for October 7th and resign. And I got to tell you, man, I'm going to be perfectly honest about this because I feel like a lot of people, like me that sit in their fucking armchairs in their studio in America and like spout opinions about this stuff, like there's not a check to how we think about it. I understand we're not changing the world, you and me talking in here about it. I get that. But when you add all these conversations up across shows, there's sentiment that gets formed. And I would be lying to you if I did not say that, and that's part of the reason why I waited this long to do 2 podcasts on this. But if I did not say that this particular subject matter, because of how charged it is and how many people are dying now and that have died throughout the recent 75-year history of Israel existing and all the wars that have happened, it is one of the most uncomfortable fucking things for me because it's also not my country.
Right.
I have no problem talking about the Iraq War. It's my fucking country.
Right.
You know what I mean? But when I'm talking about Gaza, I don't speak for Palestinians. When I'm talking about Israel, I'll speak for Israelis.
Right.
And it is one of those things that just like in my head, I'm like, oh God, like I'm going to talk about this again. And people get up in arms. They're going to do what they're going to do. I'm used to that on the internet.
But that's why it's good for us. It's good for neutral people to talk about it, I think.
But does it make, but point being, is it really going to make a difference, even when you add it up with the people who matter in a conflict like this?
I think it actually does.
You do?
Yeah, because it's just spreading its information. So 50,000, 100,000 people see this podcast or whatever. I hope I move the needle more than that, but you never know. You never know. I'm not really a big needle mover. It's my show that's the needle mover, not me. It's a weird collective. Can we leave that up on the screen though? I want Julian to see that. A grim poll showed most Jewish Israelis support expelling Gazans. It's brutal and it's true. So this was from January 3rd, or June 3rd, rather. So, and this is from what paper is this from?
Haaretz.
Haaretz. So they're like the more left-leaning.
Yeah.
I get a lot of my news about Israel from Haaretz. And they were the ones that exposed the Hannibal Directive, which proved that Israel killed a lot of their own people on October 7th. Because what that is it's a directive by the military that says they don't want their own people being taken hostage, so just kill everybody.
Now, quick question. I say this as someone who admittedly is biased because I can't stand Netanyahu and can't stand that government.
Yeah.
But would this be similar to when, I don't know, the fucking Washington Post is trying to pin a story on Trump or something like that?
I have no idea, to be honest with you. I think I look at it more of as a resistance newspaper because Netanyahu is kind of like a dictator. Like
yes, I would agree with that.
It's not, they don't have the same style of democracy. And they've been threatened, with imprisonment, and they're cracking down on human rights within Israel. So I looked at them more as like the resistance.
Got it.
If it was a free country, I'd say this is kind of more of the Washington Post hit piece. But look,
read this.
This is Israelis. They poll people, and I believe them. I believe that they're telling the truth when they say,
support expelling Gazans, so like ethnic cleansing.
Yeah, and they'll probably say, well, look, they're either going to get killed, so that's why we should expel them. Like that's the Trump line is like, look, why can't we're going to send them to other countries. We're going to do this for them, but that's called ethnic cleansing, which is also a violation of the international law.
Yes.
So, but yeah, so I believe that they think that. But getting back to your point, yeah, I think humans have this, like, we're all connected by energy and information, and talking about it seems like it doesn't help, but I think it does, because it turns the sentiment. Like, now everybody in the world, like, they see an Israeli flag and, like, they get uncomfortable.
Right.
You know?
But I also,
and
I don't want to overcorrect, too. That's what I worry about as well. Like, I see people treat it all, like we were saying a few minutes ago, like a monolith. Where now, like, people will openly say stuff that I'll admit, like, on the street, talking with normal people. Right. And I'm like, ooh, you know, like, where they'll say things like, all Jewish people, or stuff like that. I'm like, well,
you're also in New Jersey.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, where are you living? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that Twitter has just become, like, just unfettered anti-Semitism. But again, the worst thing for anti-Semitism is Zionism, because it makes people feel emboldened who really do just hate Jewish people. It gives them more fuel, dude. Why can people not see this? Like, it's just very obvious.
That's a good point.
But Netanyahu,
the current brand is Zionism, especially.
Yeah,
Considering what it's doing.
Yeah, so it's wild to me, and that's why when I look at smart people like most Israelis, I'm like, that is the power of what fear does. Is it takes these, like, very high intellect, you know, thoughtful, nuanced people, and it drives them into, like, this hateful, just brainwashed state. It's pretty fascinating, dude.
Yeah.
And look, like, you're gonna have to eat this one for the next couple of centuries if you survive. We still make Holocaust jokes to German people, especially any comedian, when they hear somebody German in the crowd when they're doing crowd work, makes a Holocaust joke.
Right.
Sorry, dude, you picked wrong, motherfucker. Like, we still can't. White people cannot say the N-word, even though, let's face it, the double GA is kind of an awesome word. It's fucking awesome, dude. It's so cool. How fucking cool is the double GA? Well, sorry, bro. Slavery was fucking monstrous, and we're going to have to eat that for another couple hundred years. Suck my dick, dude.
There was a point there.
Israel can suck my dick.
There was a point there in, like, the late 90s and 2000s. What was it, the Chris Rock rule? You're a resident black guy. And he's like, if your resident black guy gives you permission, you can sing it in the song, because there's no ER. Yeah. and then like 2010, they're like, motherfucker, that's gone. That's not cool.
Yeah, even though I think black people care, like, not at all. I think they just like to see white people, like, they like to have that power. I would. If there was a word that, like, a whole segment, because white people are what, like 70% of America?
I think it's like 65, something like that.
Hundreds of millions of people. If there was a word that hundreds of millions of people couldn't say, but I could say literally every other word, wherever, whenever, and people loved it but couldn't say it, I would fucking milk that.
It's a power thing.
Oh, humans love power, dude. We're not that. That's why we have to have law, because humans are still, like, caveman programmed.
Joe, what was your bid on that? You had a bid on the... What was it, the Higgins thing or whatever?
Yeah, Higgins. I had a friend growing up whose father... So I was out to dinner with them one night, and his father's just like, Higgins this, Higgins that. And I'm like, dude, who or what is Higgins? And he's like, oh, yeah. He's like, my dad made that word up so he could talk about black people.
That's fucking hilarious.
And so I looked at my friend's dad a bit differently after that. However, you know, you get it. White boy loves rap music.
Yeah.
I used it as the pivot, you know?
That's so funny. But he was definitely felt some kind of way when he said Higgins.
Oh, yeah. He said
Different
it
generation.
Yeah, a lot of Higgins down there by the Port Authority. You can't even go there no more. Oh, shit, dude. Sorry we talked about Israel. I get very passionate about it.
No, your passion's good. I think that's what makes you you.
I've always been for the underdog. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And
I've always been against, you know, I read about the American Empire and how it was formed. Although, you know, now I've got to an age where I acknowledge that we're fucking enjoying the fruits of the empire. You know what I mean? Like, you got to remember that, too. It's like,
Yeah, you've entered your study World War II era, get excited, read the newspaper for eclectic memories.
I'm buying collector silver coins.
But actually, though, in all seriousness, like, you did it to yourself because of decisions when you were younger, but you are an underdog doing what you do because, like, you had your life taken from you when you're supposed to be coming up into the world. How long were you in there for? Like 3 years?
I was in the box for almost 2 years. Jesus. So not a very long time, but a lot happened in that time. You know, like it wasn't an easy bid where I got to just like turn myself in. Ray Liotta comes out of a bar, gets in a limo, take me to jail. You know,
college.
Yeah, exactly.
Take me to college.
So it was, I didn't get any bail. They walked out with like $1 million basically.
How did you get caught again? You started to talk about it earlier.
Money sent through the mail. So I was shipping, I think I calculated like roughly estimated like in 1 year. I was doing it for longer than that, but I think in 1 year I must have sent like almost 500 boxes of weed, and I think like 496 got through. It was an incredible success rate. I totally recommend people ship their weed through FedEx. I mean, they're just the best. I can't even get mad at FedEx.
That's a joke, by the way. YouTube, just making sure.
Yeah, no, I'm being so serious about it. He's gonna have to go and censor it because I'm gonna get your episode bombed.
That's right.
No, they've cracked down on it now. Like you have to like give your ID. I heard when you go to like send packages out because sending drugs in the mail just became so rampant.
Oh, everyone was doing it,
But back in the day, you literally just, I send one of my workers down with the address and a fake return address, right? Fake names, fake companies, whatever it was.
You were probably supplying my college back in the day, like right before I was there.
Maybe Rutgers?
No. I went to school out in PA. But like, I remember
Temple?
I went to Bucknell. It's like the middle of nowhere in Pennsylvania. But I remember like the entire weed supply on campus came through the mail to 2 guys, and then it went everywhere. That was the entire marketplace for 4,000 people.
Right. Yeah, I maybe like, dude, if you're sending 20 pounds, 30 pounds a week just to one guy, like who knows where it gets to, you know?
How would you make those connections though to trust someone on the other end like that?
It was like meant to be because you manifest this shit. That's where I learned about the power of thought is that if you think about this shit long enough, it just happens. It was my senior year in college. This is such a white boy story. It's actually embarrassing. I was doing study abroad. I was studying because I was failing out of college.
And they let you study abroad?
Yeah, if you pay money, bro, the colleges, it's a joke. They're there for your money, dude. I was there to get drug money, and they were there to get my tuition money. It's literally, state college is a joke. Like, if you show up, you're going to get a B- average, right? But I couldn't even get that. All I was doing was blackout drinking and then selling drugs from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to party. That's all I was doing for 3.5 years. And so I was like, okay, I heard, because I was like set to become like a Van Wilder fucking 7-year student, you know? And my buddy was like, no, just go study, in like Argentina or Spain. You get like 2 years worth of credits in 3 months. I was like, oh, bet. So I went to Argentina, and that's where I started speaking Spanish. To this day, I speak. It comes in handy. And I met this kid from Jersey, and he was like one of my best friends, on the trip there. Yeah. And all of his boys were like connected. Their dads used to be part of like the Philly mob, and they're like, now they're like rich kids that also have like amateur fucking Shylocking businesses, amateur sports books. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. This is when you still have a sports books, right? It's 2007.
We still have those.
You still have sports books?
Yeah, my cousin Ant the bookie.
Of course. Oh, I know Ant. Yeah. So
episode 28.
Dude, and then of course everybody wanted like a West Coast connect. Every weed dealer on the East Coast was like, oh, I can get the fucking, if I can pay the West Coast price, like I'm gonna blow the fuck up. So he introduced me in 2008. That's when he introduced me to one guy, and then I worked with him a little bit. And I wasn't sending like 10 pounds a box at the time. I was sending like a pound of weed. It's just like working the system out. And then he would introduce me to somebody else that had a bigger bankroll, and it just kind of worked out to where I had like 3 or 4 guys in rotation. And then through one of them, I met the cousin of a guy, Dominican from Washington Heights.
Are you getting on a flight to meet these people?
I only met them in person once or twice, and fuck it, let's just go. And it was, you had to work the trust out, right? Like I assumed if I sent a couple of pounds at the beginning, I'm like, well, I'm willing to lose these because the money might not come back. That happened to me a few times with people in different markets, but
it's tax write-off.
Exactly. So, and it grew rapidly. So I have, at least $50,000 landing in Portland through FedEx every week, at least. So that's a lot of cash, bro.
In college?
No, I'm out of college. I'm right out of college.
Still.
Yeah. It felt like I won the lottery, bro. This is a guy who scraped by, barely paying rent, even selling hand-to-hand drugs for 6 years.
You're the richest Domino's driver on the West Coast.
I think it was fucking Papa John's, maybe. It wasn't Domino's. Domino's is gay. So, anyways, Domino's supports Israel. So, anyways, but that's
Johnny's
a lot.
like, I'm with the hard R's over here at Papa John's.
Me and the Higgins are making a lot of dough. A lot of those light-skinned Higgins up in Washington Heights.
That's obviously a shot at Papa John. Papa John.
Right, of course, Mr. Papa.
Yeah, Mr. Papa getting caught with the wrong. Yeah.
But so the cash was the biggest issue because it's people sending you drug money back. So that's eventually what got interdicted. Was not so that's the cash packages.
That's a big word, interdicted.
Interdicted, yeah. That's what the cops call, stopping drug money. So that's what led them. A long story, and you can go check it out on my channel because I break it down in the earliest videos, but that's what led them to me was the money. I never kept the work on me. I had drivers and I had stashes and shit like that, but the money was something I felt like I had to safeguard myself. And I would take it to my crib when I got it, and then I had places that I was stashing it, but I was getting ready to make a move out of state. I was going to move to Cali. And because I wanted to be in show business, even, since a kid, right? And so I'm digging up my money from my fucking parents' yard. I'm taking money out of safe deposit boxes. I'm taking it from storage units and shit. And I'm consolidating all of it because I'm about to bring it down to Cali. So at the apartment I was living when they raided it, I had over $500,000 there. And then I also had money in safe deposit boxes that they got to. So the charge ultimately ended up being money laundering. I got charged with bribery because I tried to buy my way out.
You tried to buy your way out?
I tried to bribe the cops because these were local pigs. These weren't DEA agents. These were fucking local scum with shitty tennis shoes on. I'm like, you and your kids need some new shoes, right, Miss Piggy Wiggy? And check it out. I'm so fucking reckless. I could tell that their lieutenant, their supervisor wasn't even there when they first raided the spot. I was like, guys, I'll bring you another 100,000. Just no. Here's 5. I'll show you where another 400 is. Just say I got away. I'm not even asking you to say you didn't come here or anything. Just let me make a run for it.
Where were you gonna go?
Colombia, South America.
Nice.
Obviously.
I see why.
You get it?
Yeah.
After talking to me for a couple hours? Yeah, I'd spent some time in Colombia, and I was like, this is the place for a young man, dude.
Yeah.
So, and I had an extra couple 100,000 that I knew they didn't know where it was, so I was going to grab that. How was I going to get to Colombia? I hadn't thought that far yet. The 200 G's in cash.
You try to bribe these guys right in the room, though?
Yeah, of course I did. That's the only time you can get them. It's it's just us 4 here.
It's just us.
Come on, dude. And if those had been East Coast pigs, if those had been Jersey
cops, been out of here in a second.
they'd be fishing right now. They'd be in Florida deep sea fishing. These fucking Northwest Portland, Oregon nerds, these fucking Boy Scouts, you fucking losers. What is happening to our fucking cops these days?
Yeah, you keep hitting Jersey, but listen, bro, there's some benefits to being here.
Of course there is. Of course there is. No, I love Jersey because they'll take some cash.
That's right. That's right.
It's they'll look the other way.
Here.
Dude,
that's right.
I'm just trying to do business. And so, yeah, but they didn't go for it. But they could never tie me with any fucking organization. It's not like they were watching me. It's not like they were putting together a RICO case. They assumed that I was working with big drug cartels.
How did they even get, like, how did they know to try to track your money?
How do they know how to? Well, because a dog smelled it in a FedEx sorting facility.
Oh,
they were just,
shit.
you know, they do that from time to time.
Yeah.
They take drug sniffing dogs down the line and they hit on a package of money. And so they fucking traced that all the way to when I picked it up in Portland.
So they trace that, they come get you, but they don't have any idea who you're working with or whatever. Did they have, like, anyone who could speak against you or would finger? Nothing.
Nope, nothing, dude.
So it's just money.
And I thought somebody was ratting. Of course, that's your first instinct. You're like, who's telling? And you know, I had a good lawyer, and they could not dig anyone up. They could dig anyone up. And they saw that I was sending boxes. You know, they found a couple of slips and ledgers, so they knew I was sending product to, you know, New York and Jersey. And I was just like, yeah, nobody ever went down. I held water. You know, the only people they really wanted, though, they were trying to get everybody, but they were like, who are you picking up your material from?
And
like,
you didn't tell them.
We know this is probably not coke. Like, we know.
Yeah.
They know who they're going after. They know if a white kid is sitting on 7 figures in Portland, Oregon, he's probably selling weed. And so they were like,
They wouldn't think coke with that?
I mean, they were like, look, who are these people, first of all? And how are you involved with them? Are you holding their money? Are you, are you just a stash? Like, are you a link in a bigger chain? And I'm like, no, none of that. But I mean, look, this is all legal, fellas.
What?
That's how I said it to them. I'm like, I can't.
It's all legal, but take this bribe.
You guys know this is not legal.
I need to get the fuck out of here. So they take you back down. Now they charge you with bribery. And what was the first one again? Money laundering?
Money laundering. But I mean, they charged me. They threw the book at me with drug trafficking because they were trying to get me to crack. And
but they didn't have evidence for that, technically.
It's evidence.
They have money. They don't have.
Yeah, but they have. That's enough. That's enough. They have cell phones.
Really?
They can charge you and indict you. Basically, there's the saying in the feds, they can indict a ham sandwich.
Right.
So, but they were trying to get me before that point. They were trying to get me to give up. So they'd send I was in the county jail. They send a fucking a DEA guy down.
How many years are they saying you're gonna get?
Looking at like 5. So
that's all they threaten at top end.
Yeah, that's why my lawyer was like, okay, just don't. My lawyer was like, we're not.
We got this.
I'm not gonna have you cooperate.
Yeah.
Because
you got 5 in you.
You don't want to tell, but yeah, you got 5 in you, dude. You're fine. You're 6'6". You put on a little muscle, you're fine, dude. So that's
who's your lawyer, Saul Goodman?
Exactly. He shows up sweating. He's always sweating. Like, oh my god, who the fuck is this guy? He's so sketchy, dude. But he was like, if you go to work for these guys, it's going to be worse than just like doing your time because you never know. Like, you could be working for the feds till they say stop. There's no and I learned that through my lawyer, but also like guys have had on the show. Like, they don't like sign a contract with you. Like, you will give us 8 years. Yeah. And I'm like, he's like, dude, we can get you the drug program. We can get say you're a drug addict, so it's like pushing that on like the judge, like my clients, he's a drug addict and he's been dealing with addiction issues. So the feds decided to just seize the money and drop the case and give it over to the state. So I only had to do state time.
But state's way worse in a lot of cases.
In certain cases, it definitely is.
You're 24, right?
Yep. 24 at the time. So it depends. If you go to a USP, if you're in Lompoc or fucking, Leavenworth, those are bad USPs.
Right.
I mean, people are murdered every day there.
Whereas Coleman is like
Coleman's
a golf
bad one
club.
too.
That's
Depends.
a bad one?
When there's a low. There's a Coleman low.
Yeah, Coleman low.
Yes, if you're at a low, knowing what I know now, I'm like, I'd almost rather go to a low than a fucking maximum security state prison for sure, because you're hitting golf balls. But I don't know. I don't know everything about the prison system, but I'm an amateur expert on the subject. Most bad USPs are worse than bad state prisons because people have so much money in USPs. People have so much money in the feds that they can get you killed.
Right.
And that people are doing so much time, and there's no parole. no parole out of the feds. So you can get clemency from the president.
Well, it's 85%, right?
Right.
You guys are really,
But even in, I interviewed a guy, Banky Pound. He's got a great channel. He got sentenced to like hundreds of years in prison, but he went for parole at 17 years. And he got out at 30.
What did he do?
He was murder robbery. They were armed robbing people, and the guy got killed. But it's like
unfortunately, may rest in peace.
Yeah. Fuck him.
Thanks for the content.
Thanks for the clickbait. Hey, maybe that should be like my tagline. You know what I mean?
Thanks for the
old school radio. Thank you for the clickbait. So yeah, he got smoked. But my point is, if you get life in the feds, there's no.
Yeah, you're fucked.
You're basically fucked. And again, unless you can get like a pardon or a compassionate release, there's not much recourse. So I don't know.
When you got arrested, because they didn't offer you bail, I guess you had to sit in county.
I had no bail because of all the cash they seized. It was just very rare.
That's kind of crazy. You didn't have bail.
Wild.
It was just cash, like.
Bro, and like they took my passport and all that shit.
I would think that would suffice.
Yeah, I mean they were because they were like, wow, this kid's a fish. Like they were surprised. They were like, what the fuck did we just stumble into? So
they thought you were a fucking Walter White.
Exactly.
So you're sitting in county though. Like, did you have a moment where reality just hits you and you're like, holy shit, it's over?
For sure. Like as soon as you hit the bed that first night, I mean, I slept, and any fucking any ex-con will tell you, the first night you're in jail, it's the deepest sleep you've ever had. Just dreamless sleep, dude. Because it's like a relief. You're like, it's over.
I'm not running.
Yeah, and then you wake up, and then it's the first wake up. That's the worst moment is when you wake up after your first sleep in jail. You're like, holy fuck, what have I done? This is a problem.
When did your parents find out?
They were the first call.
Yeah.
First call is always to your parents. It's your mom, dude. They were always there for me. The whole community was there. That's what's dope. And that kind of keeps you in check a little bit because, we're from like a pretty good family, and it's kind of a shame. It's kind of shameful to have to tell my dad's friends at his tennis club that my son's in prison or whatever. So the fact that everybody stood behind me, that's kind of what kept me straight when I got out. Is like it's that expectation of like
we had your back.
Yeah, so I kind of got to do this for you guys because if I keep going back to prison, pretty soon they're just gonna say, well, that's kind of what he does, and I was gonna lose them and lose my friends. So, that's the disadvantage of being from the hood is like going to jail and prison is so normal that it's not as much of a social stigma.
Right.
Like they don't have that keeping them in check.
I never thought of it that way. That's actually very obvious.
Booker T. Washington talked about that.
Yeah.
Booker T. Washington talked about like how white folks had the expectation, social expectations that keep them, more focused. It's interesting. But all that shit's changing, bro. Like the black community's doing better than ever, in my opinion. Like less black people are going to, I don't know about this statistically, but just from the hood, like what we see and who we talk to, like cats who come out of jail now, it's not cool anymore. Like you're not like a hard rock because you've been to prison. It used to be if you're from the hood and you got out of prison, you like had a stripe. You got felonies now, like congrats. You know what I mean? Like Henry Hill coming home after he doesn't rat, taking his first pinch.
Yeah.
Like it's not cool anymore. So to me, that's like progress.
That would be if you're right about that. I mean, it's also like, you have in a lot of these places, the environment is shaping people because there's no economic opportunity. So they're pulled into it when they're 13, 14, and then that's what they know.
Yeah.
And so the idea that like they're gonna come out and do something different, like what are they gonna do? This has been their whole life. I can't imagine that because I had the luxury of not having that.
Right.
There's opportunity. And you also got to see that too. You got to know there's a different world out there. Now you made it harder for yourself because you become a convicted felon. But like you're like, okay, people have my back in my community, and I'm a smart guy, and I got talents. Like now I'm gonna go balls to the walls and do what I do.
Yeah. Now the kids from the hood, they're not even selling drugs anymore. It's all into like scams and fucking.
Yeah. We just had Punchmade Dev here.
He's like I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he's a rapper who is a former scammer.
Yeah, right. Sure. Yeah, they're all into credit card fraud. It's funny. The ghetto's going white collar. Credit card fraud used to be a white collar crime.
We're graduating.
They're graduating,
Okay.
dude. Yeah.
How long were you in county figuring out your case?
God damn, I was in there for like 8 months. That's him right there.
Yeah, it's Punchmade.
Yeah, don't you love the social media posts?
It's a great aesthetic. It's a great aesthetic.
Especially when you're trying to keep a low pro. Trying to keep a low profile, just posting videos of your arms filled with
You
stacks.
gotta talk to him. Tommy G calls me up. He's like, "Yo, I'm gonna come and do a podcast, and I'm bringing Punchmade, Dev." I was like, "Okay." Really, really nice guy too.
Yeah, no, I believe it.
Yeah.
A lot of these cats are, man.
An innovator for sure.
Think he's. I don't think we're gonna have him on the show.
No.
No, I don't know why. I just don't think he's gonna make for a good podcast guest.
Why not?
Because he's not gonna be candid. Maybe he will be. Who knows?
That's an interesting way you put it. He's very guarded.
Yeah.
Very guarded, but there's a lot of. I don't know, this is just how I found it from my seat. You could check it out and decide for yourself, but there was a lot of like guarded answers that were masked in what's the term I'm looking for? Like take the hint.
Yeah, sure.
And I think a lot of people out there are smart enough to take the hint.
Yeah. My fans, I think what makes my show different is that we tell it exactly how it actually happens. That was my goal with the show. Like, let me in a journalistic way explain how crime, drug trafficking, whatever, actually works.
Yeah.
So when people come on and are guarded, you can't tell. I'm furious.
You're like, you're gonna tell me exactly. Give me the
I've
pin code.
become the cops. I've become like a cops in an interrogation room.
Turn your telegram on right now.
I'm gonna fucking start beating the shit out of you. I'm gonna handcuff you to the fucking chair. You piece of shit.
All right, maybe don't talk with Dev. Anyway. So it takes 8 months, though. Did you make a deal? Is that what happened? You didn't go to jury trial or anything?
We kept. He was like, just hang in there, because the longer you're in there, the more they want to the more they want to keep, especially with the state, they just want to move you through.
Yeah.
So the fact that you forfeited your money, the fact that they don't really have anything besides these several things. Also, I had a previous felony.
You did?
Yeah, I did. The house got raided. One of the reasons that we shifted to mailing packages instead of selling locally, besides the gigantic profit margin, was that about a year and a half before I got popped, the second time that sent me to prison, a stash house of ours got raided and they found product. So I had probation. I was on felony probation, but I had a completely clean record, and I knew this business was about to pop. So I just fucking.
But you stayed in after that.
Because I started making so much money.
Yeah,
dude.
that's what happens.
So I knew they were like, at least I was going to get my probation revoked, and I was at least going to have to do a couple of years. So it was happening. It was happening regardless.
Yeah.
You know. So, but I did some time in a maximum security, but I got out and went to a camp.
How long were you in the max?
I was in the max for almost 7 months. 8 months in county, 7 months in the max, and then I was in for about 4 months at the camp.
So when you were in the max, that's when you were cellmates with the Hell's Angel guy?
No, I'm sorry. I have a friend named. You got to take that out, because he's the one who introduced me to all my weed plugs.
All right, yeah, let's make a
Sorry.
mark of that.
Sorry.
No, it's all good.
Yeah. And Jimmy, who I explain on my show, he's the one who ended up killing somebody, and they sent him to death row, like almost like the day after. Yeah, the day after I got transferred out and shot to a camp. Wild.
Who did he kill?
Some guy who was getting out. He was getting out, and he stepped at him with a knife, and Jimmy fucking punched his ass, and either broke. I don't know if he snapped his neck or the guy fell back and hit his head on the concrete, but he fucking killed him with a punch.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Big guy.
He was not that tall, but
Stacked.
like solid. Like he had the build of a lifer, like huge, just push up, dip bar body. Like these weren't weights; these were just him just using every part of the fucking furniture and then like kind of a gut. And bald. But yeah, dude, that guy had some, that guy like he was my Walter White. Like the meth stories that guy had, cooking meth like in the 70s, like turning dope when it was biker dope. Like, just like the guys that are doing life have the craziest memories because it's like their life stops the minute they come into prison.
Yeah.
It's like it's over and they just, all they have are these incredibly vivid memories. Yeah, it's amazing.
But you're in a max for, first of all, how was county jail? Like, does that
fights and all that bullshit? Like everything in Oregon is a little less intense, especially than California. You know what I mean? So that's to my benefit. But yeah, you're still fading. You still have to fight when you get there. Some people are getting it when you get to.
They probably couldn't reach your face when they tried to fight you. I mean, they're fucking.
No, I got tuned up though. No, I got tuned up. The first fight I had was like I got my licks in, but I was definitely like my face was swollen up. I got.
You're tall as fuck. I was not expecting that.
This guy was big though. He was like 6'2", and he was a fucking skinhead. And we both hit the cell block at the same time. So it was like immediately like that's who you have to fight.
It's just a known thing.
Yeah, that's or else you're gonna get run off. Like you're gonna get beaten up, then you got to leave the cell block and go be with the fucking.
You guys like bump up before? I want a good clean fight, nothing below the waist.
Dude, we did after. We ended up becoming friends because we got shot to the same prison.
Oh, you went to the same max together?
Yeah.
At the same time, or?
At the same time, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He was a lifer on the installment plan. He goes in and out.
On the installment plan?
Yeah, he comes in for 5, comes out, goes back in for 7. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So. Yeah, he's doing life. He's basically a lifer,
Oh my God. Yeah. But you do 7 months, 8 months in max.
Yeah.
How bad was that?
I mean, it's good and bad. It's good because the time passes because it's such a routine. Like county jail is like every day is a week. Every week feels like a month. Time goes by really fast in prison because it's just routine every day. It's like the military, But it was. I mean, there was a riot, there was stabbings, there was killings. Yeah. So, but that was probably where I decided I was like, I'm gonna move to LA. I want to be in show business, man. That was like where I was like, yeah, if I fucking make it out of this, dude, I'm going to go do something that I like for once.
Did you have anyone in there like encouraging you with that? Were they like, Johnny, you're entertaining as fuck?
A lot of people, but I mean, maybe not as entertaining, but because like I was too scared. The funniest guys in there are the black people. Go figure. So I was always scared to like be the center of attention, but. People that knew me were like, "Oh yeah, he's a sharp guy." Like, being smart helps because it's like differentiates you, and they're like, "Don't fuck with the smart guy."
Right.
Like he's like, "This is college boy," So, but also Jimmy was the one who was like, "He's not affiliated. Don't touch him."
Oh, he protected you.
Yeah, bro. That guy ran the fucking yard we were on. So it's like, I talk about Jimmy again in the early Connect videos, and yeah, he's the guy that I that was like my fucking guardian angel, you know what I mean? So, but he was definitely like, that's like I admitted what I wanted to do. And I started doing talent shows in prison. So I would go down and it was like stand up almost, but it was like insult comedy. So I would they were like, go after us, go after the fucking blacks, go after, and it's, dude, if they recorded it, thank God nobody had smartphones back in the day in prison, dude, I would be fucked, bro. But that's just how everybody talked. It was like if you didn't go hard, like you wouldn't get any laughs. and if your talent was like, you sucked, like an old pedophile with a guitar would get up there and people would start throwing shit and like fights would break out.
They let the chomos do the talent show?
Yeah, but if you sucked, they would boo you off or they would beat you up. So it got to a point where like I did a few of these and I was just killing. I was like doing impressions of the guards. I was fucking insulting the shit out of people. And they'd be like, do my cousin next time you do that little talent thing you do, eh? And I'd be like, yeah, all right, let me go in. And so that was like the first, that was like the beginning, the genesis of like stand-up comedy. Even though I didn't even know, like, I knew nothing about stand-up back then. Like I wanted to be like an actor and a writer. And I was like, but
so
damn,
you still weren't making the connection. You were,
still wasn't making the connection. So I thought I was like writing screenplays. I was like, yeah, I want to be like I want to make movies. That's what I wanted to do, was make movies.
You could definitely do that because you're a great storyteller.
But I feel like now the industry's so fucked up. And even when I got to LA in 2012, I was like, oh damn, I've definitely missed the boat.
Even back then, you were saying
even back then, man. Yeah, like I haven't been ahead on many things, but I was ahead on looking at the end of the glory years of Hollywood. And I think that was like the last generation. Like The Wolf of Wall Street was 2012, 2013. I feel like that was the beginning of the end, or a sayonara to the end, because yeah, really after that they weren't making any. That was the beginning of Instagram.
Yeah.
That was really where like social media, 2013, 2014, started to just completely absorb it. And I was like, yeah, I think this is, like, where's the market going to go? Everything is decentralizing,
Yeah.
So
it's a good call.
So that's why by 2019, 2020, if you were doing stand-up, you were like, nobody was even thinking about like getting television shows anymore. Nobody gave a fuck about that. It was like Rogan and podcasting, like that was it.
Well, they were ahead of the stand-up community was the most ahead of the curve on this shit.
Yes, absolutely. Because you have to be so entrepreneurial. It's like rap and then stand-up is are the most DIY, do-it-yourself kind of things. So, and now podcasting is going by the wayside, at least for stand-up comedy.
It's very saturated.
Now it's all short-form shit. You see these fucking unfunny bitches, one of them in New York who I'm thinking of, but she does these really, really funny, just like I'm toxic. She makes content for like Gen Z women. And honestly, she's so popular though, she pops up in my feed. I've seen her do stand-up though. She's not there yet, but we wish her well. We wish her well.
Wish her well.
But she makes like these funny sketches and they're for a niche, and that's it. And like, who cares? Like, who cares about being mass popular anymore? It's like she's speaking for a demographic, and you're gonna eat very well off that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone, and I mean, it happens over and over again throughout humanity. When something goes right, everyone runs to exactly what that is, right? And that's what you didn't do. You're like, yo, I'm funny as fuck. I'm a stand-up comic, but I'm not gonna go do just the main stand-up comic thing. I'm gonna use my life experience, my connections, no pun intended, and I'm gonna go make something where I can melt my comedy into something that's gritty and niche that people want and aren't getting enough of.
Exactly. And thank you. And so now I'm trying to find that next thing that's different. But now, thanks to this podcast and the glory of God, because he really threw us a bone there. Now I have the resources to where like I can just go kind of have fun. Like I can just do shit because it's fun. That's a big value. Just
that's
being able
huge.
to do
That's
shit.
Freedom, bro.
That's real freedom. And that's if you're, because I look at these people that have so much money, in show business, comedians, and it's never enough. So I don't want to fall into that mental trap again. 'Cause I remember how in the drug game, that was like, I didn't feel free, even though I had so much money for being a fucking kid, and I didn't feel free, and I never got to enjoy it. You look at these drug kingpins. You think Mencho is free? You think, what's his name? Ignacio Osaguero? You think he's a free guy? He has to be surrounded by fucking private armies, and he has to live in the deepest mountains of Michoacan. He's not free.
No.
He has all the money in the world. So that's what I'm determined to not fall into that. I mean, I want to keep, obviously I love making money, and I want to keep like expanding whatever enterprise is next, but it's got to be, well, hopefully it's doing something that's authentic and that I love to do.
Well, that's key. People can read through that in a second when you're not doing it. You know what I mean? But it sounds like you're starting to see the light at that tunnel of where that freedom could be. And that's great because you've also, like, not for nothing, but as you're saying, you've experienced it where you didn't hit the chute. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And get out. So you have a life, an extreme life experience that has hopefully now taught you that lesson that other people who are on their legal journey, right? Like it's like a stand-up comic or something, can't understand because they've never had that moment. So it's like, oh, well, now I'm at, selling out fucking 40 shows a year in stadiums. I'm making $7 million, but man, I would feel a lot better if I was making 11 and I could get that private jet. There's always something they step up to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that when I worked on Wall Street and I saw these ultra rich people. And I'm a simple guy, right? And the clients that didn't even necessarily have the most money, but they all had a lot of money, but like less than others. The ones who just lived a happy life and had Friday fucking pizza and the family and never called up to bitch about their nephew who wanted fucking 30 grand for his stupid new goddamn ecom business. Like they were the happiest people. Yeah. And I was like, there is something to be said for that because they could have gotten a lot more, but they got enough.
Right. Damn, dude. Enough. Yeah, I don't have enough yet.
Thank you guys for checking out this clip. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and hit the like button on this video. It is a huge, huge help. And if you'd like to check out this clip's full podcast episode, that link is in the description below or right here. And finally, you can follow me on Instagram and X by using the links in my description below.